Keely and Joanne here from SaratogaWine.com. Today we are tasting Remus, which is Ross and Squibb Distillery out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana. We have two that we're going to go through here. The first one is their Great Gatsby, obviously based on the F. Scott Fitzgerald book. It's designed to be kind of a bootlegger type back in the 1920s. Style, 15 years in the barrel, about 105 proof. Let's give it a try.
It's a beautiful package to start off with, I can say that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow, you get vanilla and caramel immediately.
That is a rich, rich nose. There is no mistaking that there's 15 years of age on this guy. It's very oaky and very rich on the nose.
Wow, that palate. The palate just leads, directly from the nose. Definitely get a lot of oak and vanilla. It's 105 proof, but I wouldn't say it has much of a burn to it.
It is remarkably smooth, I think, for 105 proof. And just the layers of complexity of flavor, I think, is what's really coming through most, rather than any type of heat or burn.
Yeah, I would say that that's a good length of finish right there. Actually get maybe a little bit of cherry that comes through on the very end. Just a little bit of the fruit.
I feel like maple is one of the characteristics that Remus has always sort of been known for.
Yeah.
And I do get a little hint of that. There's a sweetness, but the sweetness is more of a maple sweetness.
Yeah.
Than like a sugar sweetness or a honey sweetness. It's rich.
We've talked before, I tend to like some of my bourbon to just have a slight chill to it. Normally a chilled glass more than anything. This needs absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it really
nothing
needs
at all. It's
room
just
temperature.
right
just
in the glass.
Beautiful glasses.
Yeah, and the color. Yeah. It has the vanilla and the caramel, but I want to say dessert, but only because I like a little less sweet dessert.
Sure.
So it kind of reminds me of something I would want to have like at the close of a meal, just to kind of just like,
I feel like it's also has a feeling of like a cherry pipe tobacco kind of finish, which also would be good at the end of a meal, right?
Yeah.
Like you see people just like finishing up with that nice
sitting by the fireplace or up by the fire pit, just having a nice sip of bourbon on an evening in the summer. Oh, so great.
Yeah, this is a real treat.
So the other one we're going to do is the Master Distillers Experimental Series 1. So the basis behind this is the Master Distiller Ian Stirsman. Okay. This is kind of his creative playground. So every series is going to be a little different. They're going to have different ways that they're going to just change the flavor a little and maybe tweak it a little. 9 years aged, a little bit higher proof, right on 107 or so. You can actually see the colors just a little bit darker.
It is. That makes sense to do this one second, right? Because this is a little lower proof, so we'll take that.
Right.
Less years, a lower age statement, but a higher proof. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a smell. Off the bat, I think it's a lot fruitier.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that rich, deep oak nose is still there, but it's much more subdued, and I get a lot more fruit off the nose on this.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. You can definitely tell that it's a slightly higher proof than the Gatsby.
Again, really smooth and not a lot of burn.
No.
For that type of proof,
Definitely
you would expect something to be feeling a little bit more hot, and it really isn't.
Yeah. No, I would say that to me, it's still got a little more fruit. It's a little lighter on the vanilla that's still there. There's a little bit of caramel, but the sweetness is a little, kind of drops down just a little, and the fruit comes out just a little bit more.
Like that dried apricot, cherries, those types of fruity layers, I think, are really, really, really apparent, which is a nice complexity to that sort of style, right? Because you're used to the vanillas and the caramels and all that richness. I think a lighter fruit note is really, really welcoming in this. I like it a lot.
And it's definitely very different than the Great Gatsby. I think the experimental version is, for series number 1, is definitely a win.
Absolutely.
Really fun. I look forward to seeing more of their series coming out.
Yeah, these were both delicious. And like I said, this is a real treat. That's a very special bottle, and this just goes really well, hand in hand. Very nice. Yeah, good choices, Joanne.
These will both be great paired with a lot of things, or just on their own. Great gifts as well, because they look beautiful.
Absolutely.
You can find these and thousands more options at SaratogaWine.com. Cheers.
Cheers.